Department of Athletics, I'd like to present the Big Ten Trophy, Championship Trophy to the Big Ten Coach of the Year, Tom Wright. We had to get that one first to gather the next championship, the NCAA Championship Trophy, to your NWCA Coach of the Year, Tom Wright.
So I've got some good news. The good news is that I have not yelled at an official for over 7 days now. Which means you should all be able to hear me way better than you would have on Sunday morning. So there is only one celebration in the entire world like this one that's going on now. And that is the 2015 NCAA Championship celebration. Let's hear it. This staff, this team, this community, Buckeye Nation, our alumni, our supporters, our donors, we have hungered for this for a long time. And I can tell you that these student athletes know that. We talked about it as a group all year long, how hungry we are for this and how hungry people are. I think the only analogy we could use, and we used it, I don't know how many have seen the movie Unbroken, but when they're in the raft, and they had gone 45 days without water, and their lips were swollen and parched. And then the rain came. And they just opened their mouths and just drank. How great did it feel? So everybody today, let's just drink. Lots of water. So Gene Smith humbly said that this is pretty amazing. Since 1928, 11 institutions that support the sport of wrestling have one of those in their trophy case. Since 1928, only 11 until now. Now it's 12. So here's the stat that's pretty amazing. Absorb this. Gene Smith has led 3 of them. Arizona State, Iowa State, and the one and only Ohio State. Here's my point in that. I know all of you work. I know that all of you work. And my point is this: it's hard to climb higher than the length of rope you're given. You know that in your fields. Friends, Buckeye Nation, we have a long rope here to climb, a rope that no other coach before me has had. So we are very thankful that we are supported, these men are supported the way they need to be excellent, to be extraordinary, to reach the things that they want so badly in their lives. So let's get up on your feet here. I mean it. This guy who support us, Dean Smith, give him a hand. I am a blessed man. We lived in Long Island, New York for many years. My wife is from Bloomington, Indiana, and we had a vision. We had family back home, and Ohio State University, the position came open. And I can just tell you every day how fortunate I am to be granted the opportunity to work at this institution. I still have my family back home, but man, did our family increase by the thousands when we came to Ohio State. So a sincere thank you to all of you. I want to bring up the best coaches in the land. Coach Roselli, Coach Jaggers, Coach Thatcher, come on up here, guys. The name of the game is recruit. Recruit the best talent. We know the state of Ohio is loaded with it. We know that. The objective number one, keep everybody home. Keep the best home. Objective number two, develop them. Lead them. Help them grow. Help them know that as important as wrestling is, listen, there are things that are more important. We have a team of guys. We have 12 academic all Big Ten student athletes. On developing the techniques that are needed to win, and they're also working with our team on the tactics needed to defeat opponents that are incredibly worthy. There are 10,000 high schools that have wrestling in this country, over 1.5 million wrestlers. There are roughly 2,500 at the college level. Go from 1.5 million to 2,500. And every opponent you face is a worthy opponent. And these guys do a great job at making sure these guys are ready. So a big hand for the best staff in the country. So when you've got to be up at 6:30 in the morning to run, and then come back at 3, and then go to study tables at night and go to class all day and turn papers in, it takes a very disciplined human being to live that way. And these guys do an extraordinary job of it. But here's the thing. I've learned this because I wrestled at the school that I now love to defeat, the University of Iowa. and as fun it is, and as exciting it is to build relationships and beat the best there is, we're fortunate for teams like that, right? They set a standard. Like when the Buckeyes beat Alabama this year. How sweet did that feel? Because we know how good they were. So I might add that Urban got his national championship quickly. Quickly. And we've got ours 8 years later, and we're excited about it. As you know, we've got a great friendship. He comes to the Big Ten matches, to the Big Ten. He sits on the bench. I mean, it is truly, I know there are other coaches here, a family here. But here's the thing, this year, you'll see the numbers. My point was this, that when you get up at 6:30 in the morning, I was at an institution before I transferred to Iowa that you could hear crickets chirp during our matches. It is not the case here. We had 3 of the top 10 crowds in America this year. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you so much. So, losing when no one's watching hurts. Losing when 7,000 people are watching hurts a lot more. So, I'm going to introduce we've got a whole team of special people. We've got a team of guys that you never see, but they're in there every day, and there's no place to hide. I can assure you that wrestling Nathan Tomasello in practice for 1 hour or two is much less fun than wrestling him for 7 minutes in a competition. So we've got this amazing young man. He is a 4-point student. He was in high school. He won 4 state titles. He has an amazing family that helped us keep him home. He was recruited by everybody. Every team wanted him, and we got him. And man, are we thankful. An NCAA champion as a freshman. Come on up, Nathan Tomasello.
Thank you.
So, I don't know about you, but as I put Nathan, as I put him down, I thought immediately to myself, my gosh, this is the first time I'm kind of happy that Tomasello didn't win the national. That would have been tough. All muscle, baby. All right, so up next, we have we're going to introduce the catalyst to it all. Coach Rizzelli and I and Coach Thatcher were on staff initially in the early years here when we got here. And I remember going to a tournament called the Ironman, which is the toughest high school tournament in the country. And I just, got here. This was December, my first year, and I'm up with the bleachers, and I'm watching somebody just tear apart the competition. And I thought to myself, my heavens, they're not kidding, and this state is really special with this talent. And the objective was to keep this guy home. He was a sophomore. He came out to the NCAAs. He watched Jay Jaggers and Mike Basillo win their national championships. And as a sophomore, he committed to Ohio State University. He's led us. He led his high school team. This isn't by chance. He led Monroeville, along with his little brother, Hunter. He led them to their first ever team championship in the history of Monroeville High School. And then he comes here, and how fitting is it? How fitting is it that he wins his 4th NCAA title, something only 3 other human beings have done. But he more importantly, and he will say this, he led his Buckeyes to their first ever national championship. Logan Stieber, 4-time champion.
all seriousness, this has been it's been amazing 5 years here, and you know, seeing all you guys here today is just, you know, it makes me so happy. This year has been an unbelievable year for us. You know, with the ups and downs, and you know, it's really great that you guys were able to believe in us. You know, even when things weren't going our way. I can't thank my coaches, my teammates, and my family enough. It's been a really amazing journey, and I'm excited that I can be a fan next year. I can be in the stands cheering and supporting the Buckeyes. So thank you guys very much. This is an awesome event. Thank you.
So there's so much fun to talk about. I know everyone's got to get going with their day, but I got to tell you a quick story about this guy because his personality came through. So as a sophomore, we're getting to know him, and I'm doing a camp, and he's at it. And I told this story before, but it shares a little bit about his personality. So we're doing a camp, and I want to build a relationship with him. So I start wrestling with him. He weighed about 120 pounds. He was 16, 15, weighed about 120. I was about 165, 170, about 170 pounds. And we're wrestling, probably 195. I told him I was 160. And we're wrestling. And look, I want to build a relationship with him, but I don't want to let him score on me. So we're wrestling. He hits me with a double leg. This is a true story. He hits me with one of his double legs that I saw him hit on everybody all the time. And he runs me across the mat, of course, in front of all the other campers and the parents and everyone. And then we take a little break, and I'm sitting next to him on the side of the mat. And I go, hey, Logan, that was a nice move. And he looked me right in the eye and he goes, that only works on old people. And the good news is, to Coach Roselli's point, I didn't feel so bad after watching him for 5 years because it works on everybody. So, you know, we've got a group of guys that are really special. Here's what we're excited about. We've got 5 returning semifinalists. 5 returning. So one of them's right here. Bo Jordan, stand up. Bo Jordan, true freshman. He won 4 state titles. His goal was to win 4 national titles. And then life happens. We run into something you don't want to happen in your life, and it happens. He loses in the semis, so what does he have to do? He's got to go to bed living with that, and then guess what? There's work tomorrow morning. There's work to be done the next morning. Saturday morning, I was coming on strong. Gilman gets a fall over the Cornell kid. 5.5-point win. He's got to find a way to beat a very tough Nick Solzer, who was ranked number 2 all year long. And he lays it on him. Buckeye Nation went crazy. And then he's got another match. He's wrestling for 3rd place as a freshman. Bo, listen, not only do we need the win, we need the Bonana split. And guess what he presented? The Bonana split. Kenny Corpse. Come on, Kenny Corpse. Here's how we won it. He wins his first, beats the number 6 seed, who lost to Kenny, then came all the way back. Won 5 straight matches, beating tough guys all the way through. He beats him. He wins again. Now he's in the quarterfinals. Another win. And you're in the final 4. Gets taken down. Gets ridden. First period. And then the tiger comes out. He started to growl on the mat. And he wins with a late takedown to move into the semifinals and earn All-American honors. Listen, this guy and his pop, like all these guys, were at it together for a long time, sometimes in the basement of the house, from clinic to clinic, hours in the car. That was an awesome moment for his family, Kenny, and of course Buckeye Nation scoring those big points. Kenny Court. I had 4. I'm at like 40. I'm sorry. But I got 1 or 2 more. So sometimes our actions, wow, do they speak. We have a speaker right here, Ammon, who's in the wheelchair over here that talks to our team. And he basically says, let your actions be your actions. Let your actions be your actions. If someone followed you throughout the day and you didn't say a word, they should know who you are and what you stand for. He comes in and talks to our team frequently. Logan Stieber. I don't know what to say other than this guy has an amazing will. He is a tiger. He is a Buckeye. The younger brother of Logan, 2-time All-American, 2 times in the Final Four, as he likes to put it. 2 times in the Final Four. He redshirts last year to win 2 titles. He redshirted last year to help the team this year, but also next year, because he's back. And what happens? He completely is immobilized. First his right arm and then his left. No use of his arms. He could get surgery in early January or fight and find a way to help his team score points. We knew every point would matter. As strong as I believe in this team, I didn't know how he would score enough points if Hunter wasn't able to score points for him. I didn't know how, but all these guys stepped up. And the inspiration, I believe. I don't know if you saw his last match this year, but he couldn't use his arms. But he still went out there and wrestled. I put his singlets up for him. He gave all he could. His goal, 1, was to win a title with his brother. He was so close twice. He fought for his community back home, who when we went back there, gave him a standing ovation. And he fought for his teammates. This guy is special. He's back. We have the best surgeons in the world. He'll be back in September, October, and we're going to take our time with him. Maybe November, December. Logan Stieber. Came down. This guy was a valedictorian in his high school. My daughter knows that. When math homework gets tough at home, guess what we do? We take a picture of it and we send it to Randy. And that's true. All right. So we've got another super freshman. I'll end here soon. Another super freshman out of high school. People fight their whole lives to get on that podium. Out of high school, he gives up his senior year. I've said this before, but what's a senior year about? You're finally the oldest person in school. You get to go to homecoming. And you get to go to the prom. Well, I got good news. He leaves his senior year and goes to the Olympic Training Center because he knew he had to start this year. We couldn't redshirt him. He had to be ready. And there wasn't enough competition for him back home. So he lives in a little dorm room in Colorado Springs. He's got a 3.95 GPA, by the way, also. He lives... He goes to Colorado to be ready for this year, and then he comes in. He beats the returning 50-match win streak, super athlete, super tough competitor, Jaden Cox, in the semis. Nate and Kyle are roommates. They were wrestling two Missouri guys at 125. Nate beats Waters at 197. Kyle beats Snyder. Freshman roommate taking out the #1 ranked wrestlers in the country. Kyle Snyder, let's hear it. National fight. And it gets better though. If you felt bad for him that he didn't get to go to the prom or homecoming, we worked out together this morning at like 6:30, and on the way back, he told me this little cutie from high school that's a senior invited him to the senior prom. What I teach the team is don't tell me anything. So, starters, Nick Tabanello, wrestled in the NCAA. Mr. Ohio, Mr. Ohio, Johnny DeJulius. Listen, I'm speaking on behalf of my staff, the administration, these athletes, these student athletes, band, the cheerleaders. We are just so eternally blessed, man. This was an amazing year. And we've all decided, we're so thankful, and we've all decided it was so much fun. Guess what we're going to do?
Do it again.
Do it again next year.
At this time, please turn your attention to the north end of the arena above Section 6A. Today we have the honor to add 4 new banners here at St. John Arena. First, your Ohio State Wrestling Buckeyes, the 2015 Big Ten champions.